What's up YouTube? In this video, I'm going to be doing a tier list for the show The Boys. It's on Amazon Prime if you want to check it out. There will be spoilers in this video, so if you haven't seen the show and plan to, this is your spoiler alert. By the way, this video is just about the first 2 seasons of the TV show. I will not be taking the comics into consideration when ranking these characters. First things first, I will not be ranking these 3 Supes right here. I have not seen enough of them in the show to really properly know what they can do. I do plan on updating this list at the end of season 3, so by then we hopefully will know enough about these characters to properly rank them. But until then, I think it's just better to leave them off the list. Alright, so I will be going from weakest to strongest. To clarify, this list is not about who has the coolest or most useful superpowers. It's simply just about who do I think can beat who in a fight. So combat, basically. So at the very bottom I have Mesmer. Again, super dope power. He can read people's minds when he makes physical contact with them. At first I thought it had to be a hand-to-hand contact, but as we saw in the fight against Butcher, he was able to read Butcher's mind when Butcher's fist made contact with his face. I'm gonna be honest, once I saw that, I thought Mesmer was about to turn the tables around. I thought he was about to start predicting Butcher's moves. I was wrong. He was able to see what Butcher was going to do, but he simply couldn't do anything about it. He just has 0 fighting skills. I honestly shouldn't even call that a fight. It was just a one-sided beatdown. And because of that, I got him at the bottom of the list. Up next, I got Doppelganger. I know we didn't see much of him, but it's not like he's going to be in season 3, so why not? But yeah, his superpower allows him to shapeshift. I don't know if he can shapeshift into anything like animals or objects, but we only saw him transform into other humans, and he can't hold his transformation for too long without feeling pain. We did not see him fight. He probably can fight, but the reason I put him over Mesmer is because he got taken out by Homelander versus Mesmer, who got taken out by Butcher. That's basically it. Next, I got Gecko, who arguably has the best healing factor out of everyone on the show. He's able to regrow his limbs and organs. It does take him longer to regrow his organs, but he's still able to regrow them nonetheless. But like the 2 people before him, we haven't seen him fight, and he probably can't fight. That being said, I like his chances over the 2 people below him, since in a fight, they basically can't hurt him. Alright, so that's it for my D tier. Moving up to C, I got Popclaw, the second most popular V addict. Her powers include the ability to pop claws out of her arms. How strong are those claws? Who knows, but I'm pretty sure you don't want to be at the wrong end of them, especially if you're on that D tier. She also has super strength, as we see her lifting crazy weight, and also the fact that she accidentally crushed a man's head with her cheeks. Now, she was on V, which basically enhances your superpowers, but I think it's safe to say that even without it, she still has some form of super strength. Up next, we have the first member of the 7, the Deep. His powers include being able to communicate and control sea creatures, and that's pretty much it. He does have some kind of super strength as well. He did punch these 2 guys pretty hard, but other than that, he hasn't really displayed any other superpowers. We know his gills are a weak spot. He got knocked out by falling off of a whale. I don't even think Poplock gets knocked out by that. You know what, the more I think about it, I think I'm going to put Popstick over the Deep. I'm just not impressed by the Deep at all. I'm sure Popclaw could also knock these 2 guys out in similar fashion, and plus she has 2 claws, so yeah, I think I'm going to do that. Now you're probably wondering, how is the Deep even in the 7 if he's so low on this list? And that's because the Deep is actually OP in a team setting. The ocean is where everyone dumps evidence, and he has shown that he can basically find anything in the ocean. But again, this list isn't about how useful your power is, it's about fighting. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and put the Deep under Popclaw. Alright, rounding off the C tier, I got Blind Spot. I know, this man only got like 2 minutes of screen time, but I was more impressed in those 2 minutes by his combat skills than anything I've seen from the Deep or Popstick. It's also important to note that he was on his way to being a part of the 7 before Homelander assaulted him. Homelander actually even knew his name and who he was before Ashley even said anything. Now I do take it with a grain of salt though, because Ashley literally only cares about PR and what looks good on the media, not so much who's actually qualified to be in the 7. Oh, and to be clear, I am talking about pre-getting his eardrum shattered by Homelander Blind Spot. Post that happening, you know what? I still have him over Mesmer. Moving on to B tier, I got Lamplighter, who has the ability to manipulate and amplify fire. The thing is though, that he needs a fire source and isn't fireproof himself. He also doesn't have any kind of super strength. Frenchie was actually able to move his arm, causing him to miss. He also isn't bulletproof, as he got in a standoff against Frenchie and MM, who were armed with guns. If he was bulletproof, I don't think he would have cared that they were holding guns, and on top of all that, the man had already given up on life. So you're probably wondering, why do I have him this high? And that's because he still has the potential to really do some damage with his power. Moving on, I have Kimiko's brother, who has telekinetic powers. He's able to lift boats, stop people mid-air and launch them through walls, tear buildings down. Bro, how do the boys survive this? The plot armor the boys have is something else. But anyways, with his powers, he's even able to take Homelander out of the fight. The thing is though, as strong as his power is, he's not able to spam it. He does one attack and then has to recharge. He also doesn't have any kind of super strength. Kimiko was able to overpower him, and then when they captured him, they literally were able to restrain him with duct tape. Duct tape, bro. Just around his hands too. They didn't even bother to put any around his arms. None of the heroes I have in A or S tier are going to be able to be stopped by duct tape. Even the chain they had around his legs was on the frail side. So basically, because all of that, this is as high as I was able to put him. With his power, he should be able to take out all the people I have under him, but that's about it. All the Supes I have over him, unless they are conveniently standing under a bus like Homelander was, are tanking his attack and then breaking his arms. He's not getting away from anyone with that running for him. Up next, I have Translucent, who can turn completely invisible, and on top of that also has impenetrable skin. Now, Translucent is pretty weak. He did show that he has a little bit of super strength, but if you look at the fight he had against Butcher, it was pretty close. Butcher got him with a couple of good shots, and Butcher was also able to take Translucent's punches. If he wasn't invisible, it would have been even closer, but Translucent still ended up beating Butcher until, of course, he got electrocuted, which is his weakness. Stormfront is literally a matchup nightmare against him. And after all of that, the boys are able to keep him locked up in a trunk. A trunk of a car, bro. That's not as embarrassing as being restrained by duct tape, but still, nobody in A or S tier is getting locked up in a trunk. So you're probably wondering, with all of those weaknesses, why do I have him so high? And it's because of the impenetrable skin. Because of it, nobody on this list can really hurt him. I can't put him too high though, because he also can't hurt anyone that I have over him on this list. And even though the people I have over him won't be able to hurt him or end him, except Stormfront, and even Stormfront wouldn't be able to finish him, what they all can do though is put him in the trunk of a car, and then he's basically done, right? He's restrained. And also, you can make the argument that the superheroes I have over him are strong enough to maybe hurt him, because even though his skin is impenetrable, we know that his insides are still soft. So if any of these superheroes get a good hit on his head, it's arguable that maybe they could cause some brain damage, but again, I don't know. Now on to the A tier. First up, I got Starlight. Starlight has super strength, very strong skin. She was able to take 2 shots from a high caliber gun. She was laid out, but the bullets did not penetrate her skin. Don't ask me how she was able to cut her skin. She also was able to absorb electricity or power from nearby electrical objects, and with that she is able to release energy blasts, light blasts, whatever you want to call them. The most impressive thing she has done with her light blast is breaking out of the cell Vought had her in. Other than that though, her blasts are pretty weak. She was able to hit Black Noir with one, but it didn't really do anything, and she proceeded to get absolutely mopped. She wasn't able to hit Atrain with any of her blasts in their little skirmish, and she hit Stormfront with a few of them, and honestly it just looked like Stormfront was getting hit by a strong breeze. So yeah, not very impressed with her blast ability. When they first introduced her, her ability was supposed to also be able to blind people. I don't know if the show just forgot about that, but none of the other Supes that she has fought ever got blinded. It would have been cool if she was out here solar flaring people, but yeah, she hasn't done that, so I don't know what's going on with that. Overall, I'm just not very impressed by Starlight in her fights. Again, Black Noir handled her pretty easy. Atrain just pushed her out of the way. In her fight against Stormfront, Kimiko was doing more damage to Stormfront than Starlight was. Speaking of Kimiko, that's who I have next on my list. Not only does Kimiko have super strength, but she also has fighting skills, and she also has an insane healing factor. Pretty sure she has came back to life twice, but yeah, like Starlight, she also fought Black Noir, and to me, it looked like she gave him a harder time than Starlight. Like I already said, when they both fought Stormfront, she was definitely doing more damage than Starlight. Now, Atrain was just throwing her around, but to be fair, had Atrain not been distracted by Huey, he would have probably did the exact same thing to Starlight. So I gotta put Kimiko over Starlight. Up next, and probably the most controversial pick, I got Queen Maeve. I see a lot of people think Maeve is second only to Homelander, and y'all may be right, but I just haven't seen it yet. Maeve has super strength and can run faster than cars. She probably has a decent amount of fighting skills, as we do see her train a little bit. She also has insane accuracy when throwing objects. She probably doesn't have a healing factor though, as we learned when she broke every bone in her right arm holding up a bus. her arm was unable to fully heal back properly. She probably has a healing factor similar to Atrain's, which is much faster than a regular human, but not necessarily useful during an actual fight, at least from what we've seen. But yeah, she's only been in 2 fights, and in both fights she sneaks up from behind on her opponents. So it's really hard to grasp how good she actually is. Against Black Noir, she comes from behind as he's fighting Starlight, puts him in a chokehold, and puts an almond joy in his mouth, which is the one thing he's allergic to. Now, you still have to be very strong to do that, but I mean, I'm sure Kimiko and even Starlight would be able to do the same thing. In her fight against Stormfront, again, she comes from behind after Stormfront had already been fighting Kimiko and Starlight. She gets some good hits in, but it was literally a 3 versus 1. So again, it's hard to tell how an actual one-on-one would have gone between Maeve and Stormfront. Because of that, I really can't put her any higher than this. Like, think about it. Let's pretend Black Noir and Atrain are good guys. Now, instead of Maeve showing up against Stormfront, replace her with either one of them. Bare minimum, and I mean bare minimum, Stormfront is still getting destroyed, and personally I think Stormfront would have got beat up even worse had that been the case. Alright, now to the final tier, the S tier. I think it will be easier to talk about this tier if I just put everyone up at the same time. Alright, so this is the order I decided to put these characters in, starting with Black Noir, who is basically above Kimiko. He has super strength and an insane healing factor, can run faster than a car, and he also appeared to be trained. The only negative I can really say about him is that he seems to be very lazy. He literally just walked into like 4 bombs the boys had set up for him, and against Nakib, he just allows him to hit him with his explosive power. Now, to be fair, none of these things actually hurt him, but that's still not a good habit to have. He easily handles Kimiko, he easily handled Starlight, he easily handled the boys, but the main reason I have him lower than these other 3 is because, as mentioned before, he's severely allergic to tree nuts. That being said, the only people on this list who can actually access tree nuts whenever they want are the 3 people I have over him. If he wasn't allergic to tree nuts, I would rank him over both Atrain and Stormfront because I think he has the most fighting skills out of the 3. Now let me talk about Stormfront. She has super strength, she can emit electrical bolts from her hands. She also has a pretty good healing factor as she was able to completely heal from Homelander's laser burns. She also doesn't age or ages very slowly as she's 100 years old. It makes you wonder if everyone that has a healing factor also doesn't age or if it's just a Stormfront thing. Her blasts are pretty strong, she's able to knock this Supe out with them. But apart from that, kind of like Starlight, they don't really do much damage. Most people she hits with them recover pretty fast. One of her weaknesses is that she has a severe case of racism. She literally stopped chasing Kimiko and her brother to kill some black people. Side note, I thought it was hilarious when she brought up white genocide like she wasn't a Nazi partaking in white genocide against Jewish people. But anyways, she also has pretty bad reaction time. I don't know if it's because she's 100 years old, but in this scene, she charges her blast before Starlight, but Starlight still is able to blitz her. Then later, Becca, of all people, a regular human, is able to stab her in the eye, which I was surprised by the way. I kind of just assumed since these Supes have super strong skin that they also would have super strong eyes, but apparently not, unless it's just a Stormfront thing. Now to Atrain, who has super speed, endurance, and super strength. Dude is literally able to run around the world with ease. In his fight against Kimiko, we see that Kimiko doesn't even have a chance to hit him back. We also see that he's able to utilize his arm speed in actual combat. In his fight against Starlight, he is able to dodge all of Starlight's attacks. Now, I've seen some people say that that makes him faster than the speed of light, but me personally, I never got the impression that Starlight's powers are the speed of light. I could be wrong, but again, I just never got that impression. Nonetheless, the point remains that Atrain is faster than her attacks, making him faster than Stormfront's attacks. Not like getting hit by these attacks would do much anyways. Also, like I said before, Stormfront has one of the worst reaction times. If Becca was able to stab her in the eye, that would be light work for Atrain, as he's able to do stuff like this. He's literally faster than the human eye and is capable of entering and exiting rooms without being detected. So yeah, there's just no reason to believe Atrain could even get touched by anyone under him on this list, unless of course they're able to creep up from behind. Now to the final entry of my list. Surprise, surprise, it's Homelander. Homelander has super strength, laser vision, can see through objects except zinc, has super hearing, and has super speed. I'm not sure how fast he is, but he was able to save Butcher and the baby from a point blank explosion. It is possible that he just blocked the explosion with his body, but I don't know. He never went into depth on how he saved them. But still super fast nonetheless. Now, Homelander barely has any feats. He literally just spends 2 seasons bullying regular humans and Starlight. I know I held that against Maeve, but the big difference between Maeve and Homelander, like I said, dude has like 8 superpowers. For example, had it been Homelander chasing Kimiko and her brother, I'm not sure how Kimiko would handle getting lasered, but I'm 100% positive her brother would have been cut in half immediately. I do, however, think Homelander is overrated. Let's not forget, Kimiko's brother attack completely took him out of the fight. And don't say he wasn't trying to get out. As a matter of fact, he really wanted to get out. As we know, he badly wanted to be the one to capture Kimiko's brother. But he was sidelined by that attack. Still have to give him credit, he was able to remain unharmed after getting out, and we still have yet to see him get injured. Although, like I said, he hasn't been in any fights. The closest thing we have so far to a Homelander fight is his and Stormfront's, whatever you want to call what they were doing. Also, if slow aging is supposed to be a thing all people with healing factors have, then Homelander may not have one as he actually looks his age. But that could just be a casting thing. I also think people are sleeping on Vought. We literally see they have technology capable of stopping lasers with ease, and that's like Homelander's go-to move. That's going to be it for the list though. The people in S tier have shown that they can consistently beat the people in A tier, except Maeve, but like I said, she's been MIA. Main thing that separates A tier from B is that the people in B tier lack super strength or durability. Main thing that separates B from C is that B tier has the potential to do serious damage with their attacks, except Translucent, but like I said, he's incredibly durable. And the main thing that separates C tier from D is that C tier can actually throw hands. That's going to be it for the video though. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know in the comments section what you guys would change and why. That's it though. Peace.